What if I told you that one of the most electrifying quarterbacks of the next decade might have just slipped right into Cleveland's hands in the 5th round? Yes, Shedeur Sanders, a name once expected to be called in the 1st or 2nd round of the 2025 NFL Draft, took one of the most surprising slides in recent history. And now he's landed in Cleveland, a city that's been hungry for a real leader under center for what feels like forever. But here's the twist. Despite his immense talent, his poise, his deep football lineage, and his elite college career, Sanders hasn't even been seriously considered for the starting quarterback job, at least not yet. When the Cleveland Browns selected Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round, many were left scratching their heads. How could someone with such raw arm talent, field vision, and clutch playmaking ability fall that far? Over the course of 4 college seasons, Sanders completed over 70% of his passes, threw for more than 14,000 passing yards, delivered 134 touchdowns, and only gave up 27 interceptions. Those aren't just good numbers, they're elite. But the draft is a complicated game, and sometimes great talent falls through the cracks. For Cleveland, that might be the best thing that's happened in years. Right now, the quarterback competition in Cleveland is packed. Alongside Sanders, there's Joe Flacco, the seasoned veteran. There's Kenny Pickett, the young pro still trying to find his groove. There's Dillon Gabriel, another fresh arm in the mix. And let's not forget Deshaun Watson, who remains on the roster but isn't expected to suit up this season. In that crowd, Sanders could easily be overlooked. But former NFL stars are starting to raise their voices, and what they're saying is loud and clear. James Jones, a respected former wide receiver, didn't hesitate when asked who should lead the Browns' offense. Speaking on the facility, he said it straight. It's been years and years since the Browns had a consistent quarterback. I believe Shedeur is the best one out there talent-wise. You have to start him week 1. That kind of conviction doesn't come lightly. Jones has played alongside some of the league's best, and when he speaks, people listen. But he's not alone in this belief. Chad Johnson, another outspoken former NFL star, recently shared an off-the-record moment that turned heads. He mentioned speaking with Denzel Ward, Cleveland's standout cornerback, who was reportedly very impressed with what Sanders has shown in practice. Johnson tried to keep it subtle, but his enthusiasm slipped through. There's a difference when that young bull is out there spinning that ball. You hear me? That's not just praise, that's respect. That's recognition from a peer who sees something special. So why isn't Shedeur Sanders getting the keys to this offense? Maybe it's the politics of the depth chart. Maybe it's hesitation from the coaching staff to put trust in a rookie. Or maybe, just maybe, they're afraid to go all in on a gamble that could either crash or catapult the franchise. But Cleveland hasn't had a real franchise quarterback in decades. The city has waited too long, watched too many disappointments, and endured too many false starts. What if Sanders is the answer? What if he's the one who can lead this team back to the playoffs, back to respect, maybe even back to the Super Bowl stage? It's still early, of course. No one can predict the future. But what we can see is the hype, the energy, the undeniable potential. Sanders doesn't just have stats, he has swagger. He has the calm under pressure. He has that fire in his eyes that you can't coach. He commands the huddle like he was born for it. And when he throws that ball, it cuts through the air like destiny in motion. The fans feel it. The players feel it. The league is beginning to notice. Cleveland has a choice to make. They can play it safe, go with experience, and keep things steady. Or they can take a bold step, trust the instincts of those who've seen greatness up close, and give Shedeur Sanders the shot he deserves. Because this isn't just about a 5th-round pick, it's about a new beginning, a new identity, a new hope. To every Browns fan watching, this is more than a training camp battle. This is the start of something bigger. If Shedeur Sanders gets the chance, he might just take this franchise to places it hasn't seen in generations. The story is unfolding. The question is, will the Browns let him write the next chapter? What happens when the silence of a head coach starts to speak louder than words? The Cleveland Browns are standing at a dramatic crossroads, and as the echoes of mandatory minicamp fade into the summer heat, one name is being whispered louder with every passing day: Shedeur Sanders. He's not just another rookie quarterback fighting for attention. He's the son of Hall of Famer Deion Sanders, a man whose shadow looms large on every football field his son steps onto. And while Coach Prime watches from the sidelines, letting his son's performance do the talking, the fans and media alike are now demanding someone else to speak up: Kevin Stefanski. There's no denying it anymore. Shedeur Sanders is gaining momentum in a way that's making it increasingly difficult to ignore. At Huntington Bank Field, he's showcasing not just raw talent, but an intangible presence that you don't usually see in a 23-year-old. His throws have been crisp, accurate, fearless. He doesn't look like a rookie picked 144th overall. He looks like a quarterback ready to challenge the norm in Cleveland's quarterback carousel. And yet, amidst this growing excitement, Stfanski has remained notably silent. That silence has become controversial, especially as fans search for clarity and direction heading into what could be one of the most pivotal seasons in recent Browns history. The Browns have a quarterback problem, one that's both good and messy. With Deshaun Watson still recovering, the depth chart is as uncertain as it was on draft day. And while Shedeur is catching eyes, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and Dillon Gabriel are all part of the same chaotic mix. Jeremy Fowler recently broke down Stefanski's plan on ESPN's SportsCenter, revealing that the coach wanted to give all 4 quarterbacks a taste of different situations during OTAs and minicamp. Fowler said they all really answered the bell, including Sanders. That alone speaks volumes. It wasn't a lukewarm nod. Sanders delivered. Fowler added that Shedeur showed a willingness to throw into tight windows, to be aggressive and take chances, exactly what you want from a quarterback who's hungry for the starting job. But this is where things get tense. With the regular season inching closer and the Browns set to open against the Cincinnati Bengals on September 7th, fans want clarity. And analysts are pushing hard for Stfanski to stop experimenting and start building a defined quarterback hierarchy. It's time for answers, not auditions. The numbers back Shedeur's case. During OTAs, he posted a completion rate of 77.4%, threw 9 touchdowns, and had only 1 interception. That's not just decent, that's elite. And it's forced the Browns to take a longer, harder look at a player many thought would just be part of the practice squad mix. His poise, accuracy, and quick decision-making are giving fans something they haven't had in a while: hope. Still, it's not all cheers from the dog pound. While Sanders has shown promise, the Browns' coaching staff seems to be leaning toward experience over potential. Joe Flacco, who went 4-1 and led the team to a playoff appearance in 2023, is still the steady veteran presence. Kenny Pickett, with starting experience from Pittsburgh, has also been given significant first-team reps. The message, whether intentional or not, is that Sanders may still have some ground to cover. But here's the thing. Narratives in the NFL can change in the blink of an eye. Stfanskys Silence might not be dismissive. It could be strategic. Maybe he's waiting, watching, seeing how this young quarterback handles the pressure not just from within, but from the outside noise as well. If Shedeur can keep his head down and keep grinding through training camp, there's every reason to believe he could flip the script entirely. September 7th is the date that's circled, highlighted, and underlined in bold red ink. That's when the Browns take on the Bengals. Between now and then, decisions will be made and roles will be defined. Will Shedeur Sanders defy expectations again? Or will the Browns stick to the safer road with their seasoned veterans? One thing is clear, the spotlight is getting hotter. And while Deion Sanders stands confidently on the sidelines, letting his sons play do the talking, Cleveland's fan base is now looking straight at Kevin Stefanski, waiting for his voice to finally cut through the noise. Will he speak up, or will Shedeur force him to? Don't blink, this could be the start of something unforgettable. There are moments in football that define more than just a player's ability. They define legacies, they shape futures. And right now, there's a storm quietly brewing in Cleveland that's shaking up the quarterback room in a way few saw coming. Shedeur Sanders, yes, the youngest son of Coach Prime himself, may have just made things extremely uncomfortable for Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski. All it took was one minicamp, a handful of practices, and the kind of performance that demands attention whether you're ready to give it or not. As minicamp came and went in Cleveland, Stfansky likely found himself with more questions than answers. With a quarterback room that includes not just 1 or 2, but 4 potential starters, the competition was always going to be intense. Veterans like Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco entered the fold with experience and resumes. Meanwhile, rookies Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel were expected to learn, absorb, and maybe flash a moment or 2 of potential. So what happened over the course of that camp flipped that expectation on its head, especially where Shedeur Sanders is concerned. Despite being selected in the 5th round of the NFL draft, a pick that often leads to clipboard duty and development years, Sanders didn't just show up, he showed out. And not in a loud, flashy way. He didn't even receive a single first-team rep during OTAs or minicamp. But somehow, without stepping into that first-team huddle, he still managed to emerge as arguably Cleveland's best-performing quarterback across the entire stretch. According to ESPN Cleveland, during the 5 practices open to the media, Sanders led all quarterbacks in completion percentage during team drills, a staggering 77.4%, and threw the most touchdowns with 9. Numbers like that aren't just impressive, they're impossible to ignore. What makes it even more remarkable is what happened outside of those tracked practices. Sanders consistently stayed after each session, working on timing with his receivers, sharpening his throws, and doing the little things that speak volumes about a player's mentality. He wasn't just trying to compete, he was trying to lead, to grow, to own the role. NFL insider Jeremy Fowler highlighted the dilemma on ESPN SportsCenter, stating that Stefanski had planned to distribute reps among all 4 quarterbacks in a variety of situations, and they all responded. But Sanders? He didn't just respond. He impressed. Fowler noted how Sanders was unafraid to throw into tight windows, showed aggressiveness, and took chances, the kind that make coaches nervous, but also make them think. Think about upside. Think about long-term potential. Think about whether you're looking at something special. Now with training camp on the horizon, Stefanski's decisions are about to get harder. Fowler said it plainly. It's time for the Browns to start thinking in terms of a depth chart. They aren't there yet, but one thing's for sure. Sanders has made his presence known. And it's no longer about reps or draft status. It's about results. Those who followed Sanders through his college career won't be surprised. At Jackson State and then Colorado, he wasn't just consistent. He was electric. He threw for over 14,353 yards and 134 touchdowns, completing better than 70% of his passes. Last season, he led Colorado to 9 wins and was named the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. Those aren't just video game numbers. They're the kind of numbers that make NFL front offices rethink everything they thought they knew about their depth chart. Even Coach Stefanski has begun to publicly praise the rookie. On the Cleveland Browns Daily Podcast, he described Sanders as a very, very hard worker, someone who brings energy and joy to the building every day. But beyond personality, what Stfansky sees is a player progressing with every rep, every meeting, and most importantly, learning from mistakes and growing from them. That's the kind of maturity coaches dream of in young quarterbacks. And that's why this is no longer just a developmental story. It's a potential quarterback controversy in the making. Think about the optics. You have a veteran like Joe Flacco, a former Super Bowl MVP. You have Kenny Pickett, who was recently brought over from Pittsburgh. You have Dylan Gabriel, another rookie looking to climb. And then there's Sanders, quietly outperforming them all, earning respect one throw at a time. This isn't just about a 5th-round pick getting lucky in camp. This is about talent, grit, and preparation meeting opportunity. And even if the plan was never to make Sanders the starter this season, plans have a way of changing when a player keeps making the right plays at the right time. For the Browns, the challenge now is clear. Stfansky has to begin crafting a real quarterback depth chart, and he has to figure out exactly where Shedeur Sanders fits in. Because if this minicamp is any indication, leaving him out of the conversation is no longer an option. The city of Cleveland knows what it feels like to wait for the next big thing at quarterback. Maybe, just maybe, that wait is closer to ending than anyone thought. And if Shedeur Sanders keeps this up, Stfansky won't just have a tough decision, he'll have a defining one. What do you think, Browns fans? Is Shedeur Sanders the real deal? Could he be the future of the franchise, or even the present? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you're ready to ride the wave of this quarterback drama all the way through training camp, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. This story is just heating up, and you won't want to miss a second of it.